What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Bourbon, Buzzed, and Ballin podcast. We are your hosts, Kolby and Dut, and we are happy to have you for our podcast where we talk sports, we get drunk on some bourbon, and just have a good time.
That's right. We just shoot the shit like we would normally do on a Monday night.
That's it. We like to talk all kinds of events. Usually it revolves around football. Football's the king.
Football's king. But
we throw in some hockey every now and then, a little basketball, a little baseball, but largely centered around football.
That's right. So, we like to start our show like you would a good meal with an opening toast, where we usually honor some accomplishments or,
recognize some fallen heroes,
legends that have passed.
Last week was frigging depressing, so hopefully this one might be a little more upbeat, maybe.
Yeah, I think we got one in there, but let's just, we're talking about it. Let's just dive right into the opening toast. Mine's positive. I'm going to recognize 3 NFL coaches. First one I want to recognize is Frank Reich. He was introduced as the new head coach of the Carolina Panthers. I think Steve Wilkes kind of got screwed a little bit, but
we'll talk about that one.
Yeah, it's kind of a good story though with Frank, because he was the first quarterback in the franchise history.
That's right.
So it's kind of come full circle for Frank.
And he has a lot of Carolina ties.
You don't have to hold the mistreatment of Wilkes against Reich.
Sure.
Reich had nothing to do with that. Reich.
And he earned. Reich
legitimately
earned.
I don't think Reich deserved to be fired from Indy.
Right.
So I'm a fan of his coaching, and
for sure.
I'm looking forward to see what he can do here in Carolina. And then a couple of Coaches of the Year awards were handed out by the Pro Football Writers Association, and I'm gonna have to wear that Homer hat. My man Brian Dable was Coach of the Year for the New York Giants.
You're going to wear 2 Homer hats.
I had 2 Homer hats because the Assistant Coach of the Year was former Alabama great.
Right.
San Francisco's defensive coordinator, D'Amico Ryans. And rumor has it that he's notified Denver that he's not interested in their opening and that he's really leaning towards the Texans. And, he played for the Texans.
Right.
He was an all-pro linebacker for the Texans. So if D'Amico goes there, I won't feel so bad about either Will or Bryce going there.
Yeah. Hopefully Bryce ends up there with a Bama guy coaching.
And one thing about Dable that I didn't even realize until they were talking about him winning this award is the losingest team over the last 5 seasons combined is the New York Giants.
You should know that.
I knew they were bad.
Right.
But I didn't know that they were the worst. But I guess they've been consistent. They've always been that 4 to 5 win team, and then you got other teams that kind of have had worse seasons, but then better seasons, and we've just kind of floated under the radar. And worst win percentage over the last 5 years, and he took us to the playoffs. So he deserved to be Coach of the Year because Philly exposed us. We weren't good enough to be in the playoffs, so it had a lot to do with.
I wouldn't necessarily say they exposed you. I mean, did they expose the Niners yesterday?
Well,
they're just good.
They're very
good.
Yeah,
they're balanced all the way across the board. So
they definitely have the best roster in the NFL. I'll put their roster up against anybody's, even Kansas City, and we'll get into that. When we get into the coming in hot segment. But that's who I wanted to recognize. Those 3 coaches.
Cool.
I guess I'm being a homer on all 3 of them because Frank Wright right here in our backyard, Carolina. Yeah. My man Dable with my Giants and D'Amico. But hey, I didn't vote. I didn't pick him.
No,
I'm just recognizing him.
Dable has some Bama ties too.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. I'm just toasting him.
Built by Bama.
That's right.
Well, I'm gonna open and toast 2. I'm gonna go with a little hockey.
Okay.
We lost Bobby Hull today, apparently.
Yeah.
The Golden Jet, man, longtime Chicago Blackhawk. I don't have all of his stats, but obviously we remember him in the 70s as just a great skater, great shooter, great scorer. He pretty much was, Mr. Hockey for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
and of course his son Brett also had a great NHL career. So good genes in that family when it comes to hockey.
He was 84 years young, I believe, so he led a good life and obviously accomplished quite a bit. So I definitely wanted to toast Bobby Hull and the whole family. And then, of course, I want to talk a little bit about Rory McIlroy.
A little golf.
Yeah,
We don't give golf enough love here.
No, we're going too soon because we're approaching the Masters.
April's coming up.
But I'm a huge Rory fan. I love Rory McIlroy. I think I like him. I like what he stands for off the course as well. But this week at the Dubai Desert Classic, he was warming up on the practice tee, and Patrick Reed came up to him to talk to him, and you see it on video, and Rory kind of appears to ignore him, and Patrick Reed got mad because Rory was ignoring him and threw a tee at him.
I was going to say, I heard something about a golfer throwing a tee at another golfer, so that was the...
this was in Dubai, so this was a mixture of PGA and Live Tour all in one, and so that was a big deal about that. But they actually they didn't have a whole lot of bad blood up until that point. I mean, we've seen them battle really good, but I'm not a huge Patrick Reed fan, nor is a lot of the tour.
Yeah, I don't follow golf like you do. I know Rory McIlroy, but I'm not really real familiar with Patrick Reed.
Well, Patrick Reed, I don't want to go through this huge thing on golf, but Patrick Reed has been accused of a few rules violations, code ethical violations within the golf community or within the PGA, taking liberties and basically cheating. He's been called out before. But so you either love Patrick or you don't. Now, if you're American, and you got to love Patrick Reed for some of the shots he's made in some of the big European versus USA events.
Right.
But at any rate, apparently Patrick Reed subpoenaed, his attorney subpoenaed Rory to testify because Reed's suing the PGA. So, but he sued him. He received the subpoena on like Christmas Eve, and it's just kind of been.
Now, is Reed also the one that had the video of him like moving his ball?
Yeah.
That?
Okay. Oh yeah, that's him.
Okay,
that's one of the issues.
Mike could have been a combined opening toast and a scumbag of the week, because it sounds like Reed.
I wasn't gonna make him a scumbag, but anyway, I kind of like the fact that Rory says he didn't mean to. He wasn't really paying attention. He was kind of in a zone. But I think he clearly meant it because he's a little pissed about being subpoenaed and served on Christmas Eve when he's spending time with his family. And then, of course, the Dubai Desert Classic comes down to, you guessed it, Rory and Patrick Reed, and Rory sinks a birdie putt to win.
Oh, nice.
So,
so that's a good worthy toast to be able to go through all that and then wind up being head to head and beat him on sinking a good shot.
I love Rory McIlroy, man. He's I've been to a lot of PGA events, and he's good to everybody. He's just a good, solid dude, man.
Well, good. All right, well, so to Frank Wright, Brian Dable, D'Amico Ryans, Rory McIlroy, and rest in peace, Bobby Hull.
Bobby Hull.
Cheers.
Cheers. I had to approach that one. I got the.
What'd you decide to sip on tonight?
Evan Williams, bottled in bond.
Bottled in bond, 100 proof.
Good, solid stock bourbon, man.
Yeah, I mean you can find it pretty much anywhere, and I want to say it's about $20.
Yeah, it's cheap. It's cheap, so it pretty much lands on everybody's under 30 list.
Right.
Like good value. So
yeah,
and you can't really hammer it. I mean, you can't say nothing bad about it. I mean,
right. I thought you meant hammer it like slam it back.
No, you can't hammer it either that way. It'll get you up front.
You don't want to. I mean, you can, but you don't want to.
How about you? What you got over there?
I went with one of our Old Foresters that we liked, and this was the original batch.
Oh, okay.
So we're doing a lower proof tasting at the end of the show. We're going to do the Duke in honor of John Wayne, and so this was 90 proof, whereas the one we're doing tonight is 88 proof. So, I like to kind of keep them close when we're doing that tasting.
Do you remember the price? I don't remember the price of that. What is that, 40?
40. No, that's about that
Is
one.
it
That
right
was
at 50?
I think that's $49.99. Either $48.99 or $49.99.
I was pretty sure all them Old Foresters are
right in
49
that,
and on.
Right, 49 to 59 is where all of them fall.
Good bourbons.
Yeah, real good.
Never met an Old Forester I don't like.
Nah, when that's one of the ones. I've got certain ones that when that bottle gets empty or close to empty, I go get a new bottle.
Right.
Then there's some that, that bottle gets empty, I try a different, bourbon. So, but yeah, that's one I like to keep stocked. So, all right, well, that's our toast.
Yeah.
Let's roll into our scumbags. I'll let you start with the scumbags this week.
I got two, but I got one specifically, and you'll like this first one. I'm gonna go back after your boy, your rookie defensive end, Kayvon Thibodeau. He and this is kind of funny. I mean, scumbag's a little iffy on this one, but I mean, so was the first one, Snow Angels, beside of a wounded quarterback, but. So here's the thing, so Kayvon is at home on his couch because the G-men are out of it.
Right.
And he's watching the Niners get trounced by the Eagles. And he tweets out, "Way this game looks, we may be better than the 49ers. And, of course, it goes out and on comes Eric Armstead. And these two guys are both retired 49ers. And Eric Armstead's like, "Don't do that, bro. We watched y'all's film." And then Thibodeau responds back, "We all watching the Super Bowl from the couch." And good old Joe Staley comes on and says, "Congrats on your 4 sacks. That's huge. Unbelievable numbers." Taking a pot shot at the fact that he had a good rookie season.
Of course, he led all rookies in pressure, but we'll just nitpick the stats that you want.
Still, he only had 4 sacks. So
and he also missed about the first half of the season, but that's okay, Staley. You go ahead and nitpick what you want to attack.
So look, he homering already. He can't stand it. He can't stand it. That's why I did this, because I like to put him on.
Got to defend my boy.
So Kayvon comes back on and says, "Who are you, bro?" And I'm telling you, okay, so this is who Joe Staley is. I'm speaking to you now, Thibodeau. I want a piece of you. Joe Staley's a 3 times All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, 2010 NFL All-Decade Team, former first-rounder, and a 13-year vet who retired just a few years ago. That's who Joe Staley is. When you get those kind of numbers behind your name, then you can say, "Who are you, bro?"
Okay, so
learn your history.
So in 2036, we're gonna revisit this conversation.
It might be episode 485.
You do the math.
I can't. That's way too far. I don't even know. Will we be around then? Hell, you'll be ancient.
I will be.
Anyway, that's my
that's your scumbag.
Scumbag number 1. Kayvon Thibodeau.
Why are you talking about that? Why are Micah Parsons? He's texting about every play of every game. Why are all these players so?
It's all about that social media, man.
Yeah.
They all want to be influencers. I mean, they're instant influencers just because of their name. But I mean, why
because
not?
I almost made Micah my scumbag last week for doing the same stuff. And you even got Mahomes' wife is taunting the Chiefs. I mean the Bengals.
Yeah, right.
And Eli Apple. So yeah, they like to have fun with each other via Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or whichever media they're using.
It's kind of fun to watch it unfold.
It is funny.
I forgot my good line though. I was gonna say to Kayvon, "Hey, in the words of Travis Kelce, shut your mouth, jabroni." Did you see that?
Actually,
did you catch that?
That's really would be the words of
The Rock.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Nah, that's now Kelce's, man. That
he
was
done
great.
stole that, huh?
That was great last night.
Was that what he was talking to the mayor of Cincinnati?
Yeah, the Cincinnati.
And didn't he go to the University of Cincinnati?
He did. I forgot about that.
I was like, why is he attacking Cincinnati? He went to school there. Him and his brother, I believe.
The mayor of Cincinnati said that was Burrowhead.
Yeah, Burrowhead Stadium because Joe was 3-0.
That's right. Anyway, so let's move on.
And apparently Patrick Mahomes' dad was smoking a cigar after the game, and somebody asked me, he's like, "Yeah, I'm just smoking that Joe Burrow."
Joe Burrow. That's
so
that's going to be a rivalry going
for a
forward.
while,
that's going to be fun to watch, man.
If Cincinnati can shore up that old line, there's no and of course.
First move might be getting rid of Jonah Williams, ex-Alabama guy.
He's an all-pro when he's healthy, but he just can't stay healthy.
He's a sieve when he's playing, though. He doesn't block anybody. He makes a good block here and there, but I mean, obviously, I watch him when he's playing because he's a Bama guy. But yeah, Bengals.
Did you say you had somebody else, or?
Yeah, I was gonna scumbag one other person. I figured I would just stay on the Georgia train.
Okay.
And call Stetson Bennett out. You know, Stetson Bennett was
public intoxication.
Yeah, Sunday morning got arrested for public intoxication, going around knocking on doors.
Was he lost?
I don't know what he was doing, man. Just enjoying his life, you know, because he's living large right now. But
what is he, 30?
He's like 47 years old on the cusp of the NFL draft, and he just had actually helped his draft stock. And now this kind of stuff hurts your draft stock.
Who did I compare him to? If you remember, his moxie, he's a former walk-on.
Oh, it was Baker Mayfield.
What did Baker do?
That's true. Baker Mayfield. He following in Baker's footsteps.
He's following in Baker's footsteps. Baker got arrested for public intoxication.
That's right.
After his senior year too.
Almost like he read his book or something. And he wants to be just like Baker.
I'm telling you.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah. So I mean, he's affected his draft stock a little bit, but
yeah, it makes you wonder.
He's still. I mean, he's still. I mean, I laugh about the story, to be honest with you, but I like getting onto the Bulldog fan base a little bit.
Well, I saw somebody after the news came out. They tweeted, "The only people that have been able to stop Stetson Bennett this year is the Texas police."
and Bud Light.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going.
I saw them papers.
Yeah. All right. I'm going. This is the Bourbon, Buzzed, and Ballin podcast. So, we always toast.
Last time I checked.
We always toast and give scumbags to sports people.
Gotcha.
Well, I'm going to go the bourbon route this time.
Okay.
Because this man was arrested for driving his Porsche from Texas. I don't think he was partying with Stetson. From Texas to Kentucky, and used a propane torch, bolt cutters to break into the Maker's Mark distillery. And he was trying to set the place on fire. So on January 18th, Mr. Christian P. Douglas of Mesquite, Texas, was arrested. He drove 807 miles because he said that Maker's Mark poisoned him.
Oh, my God.
So he went and broke in and was using the torch on one of the doors and got arrested. Now, why?
Did he get in?
He got in. He got in through the gate, yeah. But they arrested him before he really could do any damage. There was a little bit of damage done, but
right.
Why somebody want to go after a distillery? What did the distillery ever do to you?
Poisoned me.
Apparently poisoned him.
Man, that's a lot of nice artwork and glass in that.
I know it, man.
Think about that.
It's a beautiful distillery.
We've been to that distillery, and it was
every time somebody tells me they're going up to Kentucky doing the Bourbon Trail, there's 3 that I tell them can't miss.
Yeah.
And that's Maker's Mark, Buffalo Trace, and Woodford.
Yeah.
And those 3 to me are the best tours to go see. And
Makers was clearly.
Yeah, I would put them in that order. I would put Makers first, Buffalo Trace second, and Woodford third. Buffalo Trace and Makers are pretty close though, because that was a nice campus at Buffalo Trace and seeing all that. But yeah. So I was like, when I saw that story, I was like, that's my scumbag right there. Anybody that's going to drive 807 miles and try to destroy the Maker's Mark distillery is a scumbag.
I wonder what kind of charge you get for that. Just B&E?
I think that was part of it, and vandalism.
B&E, vandalism.
Let's see if this article says trespassing.
Just throwing the book at him.
He was arrested and charged with 3rd-degree attempted burglary, 3rd-degree attempted arson, possession of burglary tools.
That arson charge ought to carry quite a bit.
And 3rd-degree criminal trespassing. So
there's some crazy ass.
He actually is still being held.
Man.
He's not supposed to be arraigned until the 30th. When is that? Tomorrow?
That's today.
Or today. So he's being arraigned today.
That's today. He's already arraigned. So Might need to revisit that story. Why is there so many crazy people in this? I mean, who the hell's gonna break into a distillery?
I mean, if I'm gonna break in, I'm gonna break into Buffalo Trace and try to get me some Blandins and something that I can resell and make some money.
Find that Pappy,
get the good stuff.
You ain't gonna have to hunt for me, police, because I'm gonna be drunk somewhere, passed out
on the floor with a bottle under
a keg. I'm gonna have a keg just pouring on me.
You'd probably be drowned to death from the bourbon,
charcoal all in the face.
Yeah, I don't know.
Golly, man, there's some idiots.
I thought you might like that story. Yeah, once I saw that, I was like, I've got to.
That was a good one.
It was too much to write down though, so I just printed it.
I see that. A change of pace.
That's right. Mix it up a little bit. Got to change it up every once in a while. So like I said, we're the Bourbon Buzzed and Ballin, so we talk bourbon and sports. So that's a little bit of a scumbag on the bourbon side.
There you go.
All right, well, let's get off of those and let's.
You're definitely a scumbag when you're trying to take down one of the
best
American greats. I mean, that's just you don't even see him say American. That's kind of redundant with bourbon.
Right.
One of the bourbon greats. That's true.
I guess that's more Japanese whiskey, though.
Right.
But, there's no place in this world for anybody that's going to try to vandalize a distillery.
I thought you was fixing to get all serious. Don't ever lay your hands on a woman.
That's right. Or a distillery. My two golden rules.
Them old dudes, man. They're always trying to give life lessons. I thought you was fixing to try to give a life lesson. There's no place in this world to vandalize an establishment.
One of the things that really surprised me was it said he drove his Porsche.
Hey, man, it's high-class burglary. High-class burglary. I guess he said, screw it, man. I got enough money. What kind of Porsche? It was a 911.
It just said he drove his Porsche.
I got you.
It didn't say what kind of.
We're going to try to dive into the weeds on this discussion. What kind of Porsche he's got. Well, let's talk some coming in hot.
All right.
I guess just pretty much NFL, man.
Well, yeah, Super Bowl is set, and I think it's going to be a good one.
Do you really?
I do. I think Patrick's got a couple weeks for that ankle to get a little better, and Jalen's got a couple weeks for his shoulder, which I didn't get to see the game yesterday, but.
He didn't throw. He didn't light it up on the scoreboard stat sheet for throwing.
Yeah.
What was he? I think he threw for 140 something yards.
Okay.
Yeah. He didn't. Like I said, he didn't light the scoreboard up. But I don't know. I got a different take, man. I think it's going to be a good game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Mahomes clearly.
That's your X factor.
He came back 7 days.
Oh, yeah.
Not even 7 full. On a high ankle sprain, and he looked really good. He looked really good last night. But I just think his injury, the wide receiver injuries, you got Snead, his injury. He's anchored that defensive backfield.
Yeah.
Philly, largely is healthy. And, KC, to me, just so unbalanced right now. They can't run really well. I know.
Of course, I didn't give KC much chance against Cincy.
I can't remember what I predicted Cincy to win. I know that. And,
I thought the Mahomes injury.
Yeah, he clearly fooled a lot of people. But I think here's a stat I came up with. KC is really weak in red zone defense, and Philly's third best in red zone offense.
Well, yeah, when
7.8.
You got to cover for everything.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Jalen can run it, Jalen can roll out, Jalen can throw it, he can hand it off.
That's right. There's a lot to come in the offensive line.
Yeah, you have to account for all 11 players when they're in the red zone. Well, you really have to when they're on offense.
Right.
But that extra threat of Jalen. Because he's so hard to stop in the red zone. He's been that way since he was a freshman at Bama.
He's a power lifter. He's so strong.
Those legs. He is
so strong. You saw that yesterday. They did a quarterback, and you knew they were going to do a quarterback sneak. He did a quarterback sneak from almost the
3-yard
line
and
just
it all the way.
Powered in there, man. He's so strong, and Philly is peaking right now to me. Their pass rush has a 52% win rate. I just see Philly winning easily. I think it's going to be. I predicted 31-20 is my prediction, which seems rather close. And I think the score will still be kind of close, but I don't think as a fan you'll ever kind of feel like Philly was in trouble.
Okay.
That's how I see it playing out.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like I said, with Mahomes.
I know. With Mahomes,
Mahomes
is going to make me look stupid.
Of course, Philly's secondary, with Slay and Bradbury.
They're good, man. And KC's hurt.
And if Mahomes, can't evade that pass rush that Philly's got.
Juju got hurt yesterday. I don't know the severity. Your boy, he can never stay healthy. What's the kid that came from the Giants?
Oh,
the
Tony.
The little Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, Tony. Kadarius Tony.
Yeah, he got hurt. And I mean, he's lethal when he's healthy.
Oh yeah, but he can't.
Your best ability is what?
Availability.
That's right. He can't stay on the field, man. I'm telling you, I just think I know Mahomes is the X factor, but
and yet you
just have to account for Kelsey and
Andy Reid. I mean, there's so many good stories because you got Andy Reid who coached both teams.
Right, the winningest Philly coach ever.
Yeah, and I think they said he was one win away from being Kansas City's. The
Philly fans love him.
Yeah,
there was no bad blood, which they have bad blood for everybody.
You got the Kelsey brothers. It's going to be the first brothers competing. The Harbaugh brothers coached against each other in the Super Bowl, but this will be the first time that brothers are playing against each other in the Super Bowl. I almost toasted his parents because that's a hell of a job well done.
Not only that, probably one of the greatest tight ends ever,
and one of the greatest centers.
Yeah, they're both Hall of Famers.
Yeah, they're first ballot at their position, and it's kind of odd. A lot of times when you have brothers like the Mannings, they're all quarterbacks. You have, Shannon Sharp and Sterling Sharp. They were both receivers. You don't really see a center and a tight end,
right? But that center's got a freakish,
he's a hell of an
athleticism
athlete,
too, So there's maybe a reason for him to choose that position, but
and they're both so well respected around their parents should be super proud of what they've accomplished, on the field, off the field. They do a podcast.
Yeah, I've watched.
They do it remotely. They don't get together, but because they're across the country.
Travis Kelce, man, he's funny.
Yeah,
he is funny as hell to listen to.
I got mad respect for both of them. A lot of good story. You got Patrick versus Jalen. Jalen is the first Bama, and yes, I'm saying he's a Bama quarterback. Mr. Clack came out today and said it was a joke that Bama's trying to claim Jalen, that he wouldn't be where he is if he didn't go to Oklahoma.
Had a few inflated statistics. I mean, is Lincoln Riley that much of a coach whisperer? I mean,
well, when Jalen asked why is he in the position he's in, what was his answer?
Yeah.
What was Jalen's answer? Forget about what anybody else thinks. What did Jalen think?
Right.
Jalen said, I owe this to Alabama.
Did you see what Smitty said?
And then Smitty said,
Bama.
Bama. I mean, that's...
why do you not celebrate? Why do you not act like Bama?
Yeah.
Because they want to act. They're used to winning.
They're not done yet.
No, I mean, yeah.
So, I do think that Lincoln Riley helped his passing game. I do think that.
Sure.
So, but Lincoln Riley had nothing to do with who Jalen Hurts is as the player.
No, not at all.
And that comes from his dad.
Yeah, exactly.
And from Saban.
The person he is, the character he has to be benched in the middle of a game, but still support his team and come back and actually flip the script. And then he graduates and he goes to a different place to improve his game and play where
to add value.
Exactly.
What Saban's always preaching, add value to yourself. And even if he didn't leave, he would have got drafted.
Sure.
Would he have gotten drafted as high? Maybe, probably not.
Probably not.
But he still would be in the league, and who knows, what story that would have been wrote. But
no, he was still rough as he could be throwing the ball in the NFL when he came in.
That's right. Yeah, he wasn't a polished passer coming from Oklahoma.
He's been polished at the NFL level.
And he's done most of it himself because he puts in all kinds of extra work.
Lincoln Riley, You got to give Lincoln Riley credit. He is an offense. I mean, we talk about offensive geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lincoln Riley is clearly an offensive genius.
Right.
Because where can you find somebody that's taken some of these cast-off quarterbacks and turned them into Heisman Trophy winners,
right.
put up these gaudy stats, and not win a national championship?
Oh, and it's not. It's also very because of the scheme.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's
not just
offensive genius.
Yeah, it's not just turned these players into just superstars. Because look what they're doing. You know, look what Baker and Kyler.
It doesn't translate necessarily. I'm not saying that Baker won't catch fire again, or Kyler Murray won't catch fire, or Caleb Williams won't come into the league and light it up. Jalen Hurts is obviously doing good, but Jalen Hurts still has issues as a quarterback that he's got to get better at.
Jalen is in that Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson. They ain't great quarterbacks.
Right.
They're
athletes.
Tremendous athletes that
happen
pose
to be
a
able
threat.
to throw the ball pretty good.
And you got enough of that ability that the defense doesn't know what to do.
Exactly.
If they drop back to cover the pass, you're going to run. If they come up to stop the run, you're going to throw it over top of them.
Lincoln Riley gets way too much credit for anything, until he starts actually winning championships. I can't give him a whole lot of credit. Can I give him credit for being an offensive genius?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because like you said, he puts his offense, he puts his players in a position to be mismatched.
Yeah. Well, and the reason it doesn't translate is because, like you said, they're creating mismatches and wide open spaces. Anybody complete those passes. In the NFL, you have to be able to throw it in a tight window. You have to make that decision in 2 seconds.
Yep.
And it's a whole different ball game.
That's the number one knock on an Alabama quarterback until Tua was our quarterbacks have been throwing to incredibly wide open receivers. It really wasn't until Tua where we actually had some really good accuracy. We had a quarterback that could actually throw into windows and throw receivers open. We had A.J. McCarron putting up gaudy stats, but not necessarily translating to the NFL because now he's got to throw into tighter windows. Right.
And then poor Bryce, he never had an open receiver. Well, he did with Jameson Williams, but this season.
No, I think if anything, I mean, he's clearly been the best in my book that I've ever seen at Alabama. And I actually read today where his accuracy was a little in question, which kind of shocked me. Yeah, I mean, I know this year he had to make some throws that he was off schedule with.
He was also hurt. I mean, you got a sprained throwing shoulder. It's going to affect your accuracy.
Yeah,
I mean, look at Mahomes was missing some passes.
Sure.
In that Kansas City game last night,
not being able to
because of the ankle. Exactly. I mean, those were throws that he never misses.
Sure.
And an injury.
Bryce's throws during the season were tailing off behind receivers that he wasn't leading them like he normally does because he couldn't quite. Yeah, exactly. So
couldn't get that follow through.
I read this stuff and I hear people like Joel Klatt come out and say stuff like this, and I'm like, dude, you really just kind of going off half cocked. I mean, you just want to say something to get viewers.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Most of what they're doing in the media these days is bait click shit.
That's it, man. Just for views, man. Clicks and.
Yep.
We're talking legit shit here. I mean, you got to take everything into consideration. Back to Lincoln Riley. He's a great coach, great offensive mind, but he didn't make Jalen Hurts, a 3rd-round draft pick?
Second, I think.
Second, late second, third, whatever it was. He put him in position with statistics to get there, but Jalen got there on his own accord.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen's a great human because of the foundation his parents gave him.
Right. Yeah, I saw somebody call him America's quarterback.
Jalen should be. Everybody should be a Jalen Hurts fan because if you watch his whole story, I mean, he just the character that kid has. I can't see that any. I mean, how could you not want that to be your son-in-law, or how could you not want your son to aspire to that? I mean, his character is just off the charts.
Yeah, I had to rep Jalen tonight with the little throwback Bama jersey when he was wearing the deuce. Yeah, speaking of Jalen at Bama, so he's the first quarterback to start in the Super Bowl since the Snake. Kenny Stabler in 1977.
Against the Vikings.
Yeah, and did you know that, so there's two schools that are tied right now with the most, and don't look at my thing over here, I'm going to see if you know.
Right.
Two schools have the most quarterbacks that have started and won a Super Bowl.
Started and won a Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
Two schools. Well, let's see. So you got the Snake and you got Joe Willie. So that's 2 for Bama. Golly, no, I don't.
It's tough. I had no idea until I read it.
Let's see if.
But you're missing one for Bama. The first one.
Oh, that's
the first
true.
2.
Bart Starr, I forgot. You always forget about Bart Starr.
I know you don't associate him with Bama.
It's hard to, It really is hard to. Oh man, I don't know if I want to waste the show sitting here thinking about it. I'm kind of. Should I go to Purdue?
Boom.
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 I didn't see your screen either. I promise.
Len Dawson, Brian. I'm not
and,
Brian Greasy.
Greasy and the Breeze.
Yeah, and Drew Brees. Yeah. So if Jalen wins, then Alabama will have the record with 4.
Boom.
So yeah, good call. I was just about to give it to you.
I was grinding on Stanford.
Yeah.
Because of Elway, and I couldn't remember.
Luck never won one.
Luck never won one?
Mm-mm.
Anyway, I got it right. Boom.
Yeah. So that surprised me because you don't think of Alabama as a quarterback school, and they had a long drought.
Yeah, we had a very long drought.
In between Stabler and this recent batch of QBs. And then Devontae, I think he could be the 4th player, and I don't know. I'm thinking it's 4th player, but that is a national champion, a Heisman Trophy winner, and then would be a Super Bowl champion. I think there's been 3 of them, he would be the 4th.
His catch was beautiful.
Yeah, I saw a replay of that one-handed catch.
I mean, I have a couple of friends that are Eagles fans, huge Eagles fans, and I told them when they drafted Jalen, and of course when they drafted Devontae, they were getting probably 2 of the most high character kids that they've got in the entire organization.
Yeah.
Man, it's panning out, man. Devontae is he's got the most humility of any person you could have ever met. I mean, I don't know, the kid's amazing.
It's almost like he was embarrassed to win the Heisman Trophy.
He's embarrassed to do anything good. It's like he just.
I don't know. I don't want to jinx him or anything, but he is so skinny.
Yeah, but the separation he gets and the smoothness in which he runs those routes, and if you can't get a hand on him on the line of scrimmage, you're over. You're not gonna stop him from catching it.
But they asked Jalen about his and Devontae's connection, and Jalen said, "We used to work out together in the off season after practice." He said Devontae, he would tell people he couldn't go out and party and this and that, and he would stick around to work out with Jalen. So there again, that's part of their Bama process.
We got to get back to that at Tuscaloosa, man. We got to get back to that.
Yeah.
I feel like we've missed some of that in the last year.
I think Nick is looking a little bit more this recruiting class at character as well as ability.
Yeah.
I read today that he turned down a transfer portal DB starter and a top DB prospect.
Cormani McLean.
Because they were asking for a certain amount of NIL money, and Nick said, "I don't give NIL money until you earn it."
That's right.
Or you got to earn it yourself. I'm not giving it.
It's not given. I mean, you
but
earn it.
They wanted basically like $1.3 million just to come to Alabama.
Right.
And Nick told him.
That's what it's gotten to, man. You just want that bag of cash delivered.
Yep.
Well, let's get into Steve Wilkes. You want to talk about Steve Wilkes a
Sure,
little?
yeah.
You kind of alluded to that.
And you want to talk about classy individual.
Very.
The way he's handled this situation.
You read his little letter to Charlotte? And
I didn't read it word for word. I kind of footnoted.
Well, you were alluding to it, so I figured you at least read it. It's only 3 paragraphs. You got tired after the first paragraph. I mean, I'm not going to quote it at all, but I mean, like you said, high class. I'm really shocked, man. I'm really shocked. I felt like he earned it.
Yeah.
Again, like you said earlier, this is not a shot at Frank Reich because he's clearly qualified, and I think we're in good hands here in the Charlotte market with Frank Reich for sure. But man, I just felt like what Steve Wilkes got to do, man.
Yeah.
He turned that organization around. He changed the culture quickly after trading away Christian McCaffrey, who did great yesterday, by the way. I'm glad to see that. But
and Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was baggage, but.
Well, but I mean, that's one of your. That was supposedly going to be your top receiver and your top running back that you got rid of, and you bring in a coach who, basically you just want him to go through the motions. But hey, he had him winning and knocking on the doorsteps of a playoff berth.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I thought he did. I thought he did everything he should have, and I really felt like he deserved the job. But
of course, what do you expect out of Tepper?
I mean, but at the same time, Tepper did say from the get-go he wanted an offensive-minded coach, and
how'd that work? Rule.
Well, I don't necessarily know he was offensive-minded. He made that move. That was a stupid move. Matt Rule was. I mean, I never understood it from the get-go. I wish we had the podcast at that time because I would have predicted a bad ending, but. Tepper did say he always wanted an offensive-minded guy, and I think he got that in Frank Reich. But at the same time, Frank Reich's going to hire an offensive coordinator. Couldn't Wilkes have hired an offensive-minded coordinator? Yeah, I mean, you're kind of speaking out of both sides of your mouth.
Really, when you're looking for the head coach, you should be looking at the CEO of your organization.
Yeah.
It's not offensive-minded, defensive-minded. It's who's going to be able to take both sides and put it together? Or look at the Dolphins and Mike McDaniel. Yeah, he's very offensive-minded, but he wasn't too proud to fire his defense coordinator and then bring in Vic Fangio, who's also got head coaching experience, but he's a defensive mind. So now you got balance. So you can have balance if your head coach is defensive-minded. You bring in a really strong offensive-minded offense coordinator. So it's about you mentioned it earlier with the Eagles. It's about balance.
Yeah, I mean you're still the CEO. You're still the top dog. You override and trump any call you want to on your offensive coordinator's game plan or your DC's coordinator game plan. And I think Frank Reich's going to have the ability, hopefully. To maybe, because as a head coach, if you're not calling the plays, you're seeing the game differently. You're able to see things a little differently, a lot less tunnel visioned as an OC would be.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's why you need strong OC and DC so that you can focus on the flow of the game, the clock management, the making adjustments, that type of stuff. You don't need to be, they. Talking about OCs and coaches and this and that. Dallas fired Kellen Moore.
Right.
Well, they mutually agreed to part.
Sure.
And now McCarthy supposedly is going to go back to calling plays. Is that what you really want to do?
That didn't work out for him the last time.
Yeah, it's going to take your focus away. And speaking of Kellen Moore,
right?
The Chargers scooped him up
quickly.
I don't even think he had both feet out of the complex in Dallas. And he was already hired by the Chargers.
Yeah, they'll be going for it on fourth down.
But
anyway, I mean, I'm behind Frank. I mean, he's got a lot of Carolina connect. Did you know his brother's the head coach at Wingate?
Nah, Frank Reich?
Yeah, his brother's the head coach right down the road in South Carolina.
Okay, good for them. Yeah, I mean, he's never really been given a great quarterback. Most of his quarterbacks were beyond their prime.
Right. Of course, Luck retiring.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he did start with Luck, but what, do you have one season with Luck? Or maybe two?
I think Luck retired suddenly in 19.
I don't remember, but
right before COVID. But I mean, at the same time,
and then they tried to just plug in Carson these veterans.
Carson Wentz was kind of his fault.
Well, I mean, he had Wentz at an MVP level.
Yeah, I know.
With Philly, so he was available. So
coordinator.
yeah, let's bring him in. You know, that's what I'm saying. They brought in these. Wentz ain't been the same since he got hurt that year that he was on an MVP level. Phillip Rivers was
Aging.
He was done. He was about done by the time he got to the
He
Colts.
was tired from 8 kids.
He had one
8 or 9 kids.
one season with Jacoby Brissett, but it was Brissett's best season ever. You know, I mean, so he's had success with what he's had to work with. But is it his fault for selecting some of these quarterbacks? Yeah, he probably had a hand in it, but what were his other options? We don't know at the time.
Right.
You know, Indy never did draft a quarterback to groom to become, you know, they really got screwed by luck.
Yeah, it was.
They really had bad luck.
They had bad luck. That's true.
That kind of got them, you know, running on a treadmill. They couldn't get anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I think you know, the Panthers have a good draft cap, so you know, I think Reich maybe can get his quarterback. I mean, I'm hoping that's still the thought.
Right.
You know, I know they're pretty high on Sam Darnold towards the end of the season, but I'm hoping they're high on him as a backup, a good quality backup.
Or at least a table holder, you know.
Could potentially be because, you know, they got Matt Corral, too,
right,
coming off of the IR. Darnold, you know, if he comes out and has a great preseason, he could be trade
or start until Corral, or if they draft somebody, are ready.
Sure.
You know, so he could be that placeholder for the other guys.
Anyway, Steve
so
Wilkes,
is Wilkes
man,
is he getting any interviews anywhere?
I don't know. I really didn't look and see where his destinations are going to be. Maybe he'll end up in Tuscaloosa. We could use a DC.
Yeah, you still got Denver open. You still got Arizona open. Like I said, Texans, it's looking like DeMeco Ryans. The Panthers, of course, hired Reich.
Apparently, Eric Bieniemy just doesn't interview well.
Yeah, I read something today that said Bieniemy is being considered to interview for the Washington Commanders offensive coordinator. Why? It said the only reason he would want to do that was to show that he could be successful away from McCarthy. Andy Reid.
Well, hell, maybe he wants to sit and be the coach in waiting for Andy Reid. That might be his Might be what he's looking at.
Yep. So, yeah. You said we need an OC and a DC in Tuscaloosa. The rumor is they're talking to Ryan Grubb, Washington's OC.
Yeah. Oh, okay. He's the OC.
Yeah, he was Washington's OC. He's followed that coach that just went to Washington, DeBoer. I don't know how you say his name. But,
I don't know. Oh, you're talking about the Huskies.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I thought you were talking about the Commanders.
No. The University of Washington.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, he's their OC, and he took the Washington pass offense from 72nd to 1st, total offense 2nd, scoring offense from 113 to 10th.
Well, can he come and bring Penix with him?
Well, that's what some of the talk was. Well, maybe we could get a package deal.
That might be pretty good.
Of course, it was against Pac-12 defenses, so
it's pretty soft.
So you got to take some of those stats with a little. But I mean, that's some tremendous doubled. They went from scoring 258 points to 516.
He's got to find somebody pretty quick. I mean, we're starting to eke into the latter months or latter weeks of winter.
Yeah, I'm surprised, because you got the second signing period coming up, and of course I don't know that. I don't think we're taking anybody else. But.
I don't think there was a whole lot of slots left to fill, so I think we're good there. But we're running out of weeks.
Of course, recruits ain't coming here because of who the OC or DC is. They're coming because it's Bama and Saban and the
tradition that we
the pipeline to the NFL.
And then,
of course, the rumor is that he wants to bring Pruitt back for DC, but they got to go through all the red tape and
there's a lot of red tape with bringing him back.
Yeah, I still would prefer Schumann, but Pruitt is proven. I mean, has
Schumann said no?
I don't know if there's ever been nothing's ever been made public. You know, I'm sure there was some conversations behind the scene.
The Georgia faithful says that's not going to ever happen, but
yeah,
who knows? Who knows? It's not for me to figure out.
Right. All right. Well, what you say we wrap up this episode? And like I said, I got a Duke Kentucky Straight Bourbon over there waiting for us at the bar. So we'll go over and taste it, and then we'll rate that shit. See you at the bar.
Cheers.